In a quiet American town, where streets hummed with the same routine every single day, lived a 32-year-old man named Ethan Hawley. To everyone who saw him, Ethan looked fine. He wasn't exactly successful, but he wasn't failing either. He was just surviving. Surviving. But on the inside, Ethan felt like a man trapped between who he was and who he desperately wanted to be. I worked long, grueling hours at a small repair shop, spending his days fixing broken machines while carrying his own invisible cracks. Every morning, he'd look in the mirror and tell himself, Today, I'll change my life. And every night, as he lay in bed, he'd whisper to the darkness, Maybe I never will. The bills just kept coming. His dreams kept shrinking, and life kept repeating itself in a relentless, soul-crushing loop. Now, Ethan wasn't lazy. He was just tired. He was tired of trying, tired of failing, and most of all, tired of believing that maybe, just maybe, he wasn't meant for anything more. He felt like he was running a race he could never win, stuck in a story he didn't write. But life, in its mysterious way, always gives you a turning point, even if it doesn't look like one at first. And for Ethan, that turning point arrived on a stormy afternoon. The rain was lashing against the windows of the repair shop when an elderly man walked in, clutching an old radio. It was a relic, crusty, dusty, and barely holding together. The man smiled kindly, a warmth in his eyes that seemed to push back the gloom of the day. He placed the radio on the counter and said, Son, can you bring this back to life? Ethan nodded, taking the old device into his hands. It got to work. He opened it out. And all he saw inside was a tangled mess of screws, wires, and old, fried circuits. It was chaos. It was just like his own life. After an hour of struggling, of trying to make sense of the jumble, he let out a heavy sigh. I'm sorry, he said, looking up at the old man. I don't think this thing can be fixed. The old man didn't seem surprised. He just chuckled softly, a gentle, knowing sound. He replied, That's what people said about me once. Ethan froze. He stopped working. Something about the man's calm confidence, his quiet certainty, caught him completely off guard. The words hung in the air, filled with a weight that Ethan couldn't ignore. He found himself asking, his voice barely above a whisper, How did you fix yourself? The old man didn't give him a grand speech. He just pointed a weathered finger at the broken radio on the counter and said, First, you stop believing you're broken beyond repair. Second, you show up every single day. Even when you feel like giving up. That's how things come back to life slowly, quietly, patiently. Ethan felt those words hit him harder than any failure ever had. It wasn't an accusation. It was an invitation. The man then added gently, his voice full of compassion, You don't need a new life. You just need to repair the one you already have. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He tossed and turned, the old man's words replaying over and over in his mind. You stop believing you're broken beyond repair. You show up every single day. He began to realize something both painful and incredibly powerful. His life was unstuck because he lacked talent or opportunity. It was stuck because he had stopped believing in his own ability to grow. He had accepted the label broken. The next morning, for the first time in years, something was different. The usual sense of dread was gone. Instead of waking up defeated, Ethan made a decision. A simple one, but it would change everything. He said to himself, Today, I show up. Not for perfection. Not for applause from others. Not for some instant, magical success. That decision was the spark. He started small. He began learning. He spent his evenings after work not on the couch, but online, learning about marketing, about woodworking, about how to sell things on the internet. Every night, he pushed himself, even when his eyes burned from exhaustion and his mind begged him to quit. Some days, he felt unstoppable, like he could conquer the world. Bad most days, he felt completely and utterly lost. Doubt was a constant companion. Yet, He kept showing up. In a small corner of his tiny apartment, he started building custom wooden lamps. They were his own creations, born from his own two hands. He took photos and posted them online. And then, nothing. Nobody bought them. The old Ethan would have given up. He would have seen it as proof that he was a failure. But the new Ethan showed up again. He looked at his designs, found ways to improve them, and posted them again. Still no sales. The silence was deafening. But he showed up again. And then, after 3 long, grueling months of showing up without any reward, it happened. He got a notification. Someone had bought his lamp for $45. He stared at the screen, and it wasn't about the money. It was never about the money. It was proof. Proof that his effort mattered. Proof that consistency could beat talent. That first sale was the crack in the dam. Within a year, Ethan's small side project had grown into a full-fledged small business. His lamps became popular. He was getting orders faster than he could make them. Soon, he walked into the old repair shop for the last time, not as a tired worker, but as a man who had rebuilt his own life. He quit that job and replaced the old, gray routine with a life he had once only dared to dream of. And now, every morning, when he walks into his own workshop, filled with the scent of fresh-cut wood and the hum of his own machines, he whispers the same thing to himself. I'm not here because I was gifted. I'm here because I stopped giving up. The lesson Ethan learned, the one he now shares with everyone he meets, is this. You will never lose in life again. The moment you decide to show up for yourself, it's a profound shift in perspective. It's not about winning every battle. It's about refusing to forfeit the war, because the truth is simple, and it's for every single one of us. Your dreams don't need perfection. They don't need magic or some lucky break. They just need you. They need your effort, your belief, and your stubborn persistence. They need you to show up when it's hard, when you're tired, when no one is watching, and when you feel like you have nothing left to give. If you show up today, and then again tomorrow, and again the next day, life will eventually, inevitably, open the door you've been knocking on for years. It has to. So, whatever you're facing, whatever dream you've put on a shelf, whatever part of you feels broken beyond repair, hear this. Just don't stop. Don't fade away. Don't you dare give up on yourself. Your story isn't stuck. It's not over. It's just waiting for you to take that first step, to show up. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content just like this. See you in the next one.